welcome to Knit Tea Live. I hope you're here. That was a very short countdown because I messed things up, and that is totally how this afternoon is going so far. Oh my god. Oh my god, today. Oh my gosh, today. Anyway, welcome to Knit Tea Live, an hour later than usual. Thank you so much for making it. If you were waiting at 12 when I normally do Knit Tea Live and you're back, thank you so much for coming back. I just need to take a breath. I just need to take a breath for a moment. And I'm going to have a sip of tea. I have tea with me this morning. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So, so if you were here earlier, then you know, but if you're watching on replay, I'll just tell you what's been going on this morning. I was setting up to do Knit Tea Live, and normally when I start my live stream, I restart my computer because that helps keep a nice stream going while we are talking. Go to restart my computer, and it started updating an application. At one point, I thought it was the whole OS. It wasn't the whole OS, but it started updating an application when I hit restart. I don't know why, but it did. And it was like, okay, maybe I'll just be a few minutes late. And then the computer was telling me, oh no, it's going to take 30 minutes. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So anyway, it was like, okay, we're just going to push it an hour because I still wanted to do this. I still wanted to do Knit Tea Live. There was just things I wanted to talk about and show you, and I wasn't able to do an upload this week, and I will get into that in a minute. And so it was just like, nope, we're going to just push the live stream. So that's what we did. If you are here right now, please say hi in the chat and make sure to give this a thumbs up. And if you're watching on replay, thank you so much for making time in your day to catch the replay. I will have timestamps down the description box after the live stream is over. And please also make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and do all the YouTube-y things. Yes. Oh, man, this tea. I need it. I'll get into that in a second. In addition to saying hi, also let me know what it is that you are working on today. What I'm working on right now, it has been a very busy weekend craft-wise for me because I finished some projects, I wove in some ends, but I started a new project, which is this. This is the start of another fingerless mitt. Yes, I'm knitting one more fingerless mitt, at least one more before the end of the year. This is another project that I started and I got through the Fasten Off Yarn Along 2021. If you do not know what Fasten Off speak. If you do not know what Fasten Off Yarn Along is, it is kind of the off-Rav version of the gift along. At the beginning of the month, there was a discount period where designers offered a selection of their work for a discount. That period is now ended, but for the rest of the month of December, people taking part in the Fasten Off Yarn Along have been making those projects. And sharing their work on Twitter, on Instagram. There's a Discord. So there's still plenty of time in the year. If you want to jump into the Fasten Off Yarn Along and take part, you still can. And there's been prizes. I won a prize this week. So it's a lot of fun. And this is one of the patterns that I bought that I started yesterday. This is also one of the patterns that I bought. So this is what I'm working on, and I would love to hear what it is that you are working on right now as we head into the final weeks of 2021. I might be drinking this tea so much today because my throat is so. For today's live stream, what are we going to talk about today? Okay, so first of all, I'll catch you up with some life events that have been going on, why I didn't have an upload this week. I'll talk to you a little bit more about some finished projects that I did. I had a whole, what I called block party yesterday, where I washed and blocked a bunch of items. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. And then we will have our topic of the day to talk about craftworthy. It's the gift giving season. A lot of people, a lot of makers, knitters, crocheters make presents for people at this time of year. And we're going to just talk a little bit about that process, what it can feel like. I'm going to tell you my perspective on gift giving and making. And we'll also talk about the all-important subject of what makes somebody craft worthy. How discerning should we be about making things for people, and with the hope that they will appreciate the time and the effort and the love that goes into it, because sometimes people don't appreciate it, and sometimes people really appreciate it. And how do we figure out who is craft worthy? And then we'll have a spot. I'm sorry, I cannot talk right now. And then of course we'll have a pattern spotlight. So first of all, let me tell you about why I need tea right now and why I didn't upload this week. My daughter got a cold last weekend. If you follow me on Twitter, you might have, I think I tweeted about it a little bit. I can't remember now. But anyway, my daughter got a cold. It was like in the past, when my child has been ill, it's been very quick, right? Very quick. Like, it's like she'll be sick for 24 hours and then she wakes up and she's fine. This was not that. This went on for like a week. And at first, the cold was like a normal cold. You know, she was like a little runny, a little stuffy, what have you. Not a big deal. And then towards a week ago Friday, so not this past Friday, the Friday before, at night she spiked a fever. And then the next morning she woke up and she was fine. But then that night she spiked a fever. And then she had a fever all day Sunday. So like last weekend was just eaten up with, having a child to tend to as tends to happen with parenting. So I didn't get a chance to shoot a video or edit or anything. And I was just like, well, there's not going to be an upload. So that was why I didn't have an upload. But yay, Liz show. Yay, you're here. Welcome. So glad you could make it to a live. So naturally, I now have the cold myself. You might hear it a little bit in my nose. It's there for sure. So I woke up this morning and my throat was just really like unhappy, because not only do I have a cold, it is cold for LA, but it like the air is cold and dry at night, and so that just does a number. And yeah, my husband, he sounds like a cartoon character right now. His voice is so gravelly. So yeah, so we have colds. Colds have been running through the house, but thankfully it is not, the stuff that has been going throughout the world. Hello, Whitney! Oh, it's been a minute. So glad you could make it today. Oh, yay. So, yeah. Oh, and on top of that this week, before the cold set came in, Monday, I did get my booster and flu shot at once, so there was a couple of crummy feeling days there. So yeah, it's been a week. Excuse me, I need to scratch my nose, and I don't want to make you watch that. So I'm going to just turn around for a second. Oh, God. And yeah, I just dropped my phone, and hello, focus. Thank you. So Bear, poor thing, and you too. May you feel better quickly. Thank you. This, I've got to say, so far, it's mostly just like feeling a little stuffy and runny nose. And I do know that it's just a cold. Like, I know this. Like, when my girl was not feeling well, like, we were pretty confident it was just a cold or flu. But times being what they are, we were also very worried, like, well, what if? So, but we got her tested, and It was a cold. So that's why I'm really confident that this is just a cold. Also, because my husband, his job, he works on set and film. He had a job this week, so he had to get tested. So he's getting tested like all the time. So him getting tested is like the whole family gets tested. So yeah, I am drinking tea. Speaking of tea, I did want to mention this real quick because I'm sure some of you are tea lovers as well. And I go through phases where I get really back into tea again. And this is not sponsored. I'm not an affiliate. It's just something that I do. I do subscribe to FabFitFun. I just started doing that this year as a little treat to myself. And my last box, they did have, I can't remember if I selected this or this was selected for me, but I got this pack of tea, and it's the kind of tea where it's loose leaf tea, but they put it in the little triangle bag. And I gotta say, it's so good. I'm enjoying it so much. So it's Bottom, and right now I'm drinking the turmeric spiced herbal tea. Really enjoying this a lot. So Bottom. I'll put the name of it down in the description box if you're interested at all. Again, not sponsored, not affiliated, nothing like that. I just am enjoying the tea, and I know Knitter's tea, it all kind of, we love the teas. Hello, Kathleen Sperling. Whip Insanity is here. Oh, wow. Thank you. So excited that you're here today. We are going to be talking about Fasten Off Yarn Along, and Whip Insanity, Miss Kathleen Sperling, is one of the people who spearheads that event and just does an amazing job putting together that database. So, and there's all sort of the life events going on. Speaking of Fasten Off Yarn Along, I finished my first object. That's right, I did my first Fasten Off. This is it. I'm wearing it. This is the Aurelia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Shawlette. It is a Tunisian crochet project. It's not her name. Oh, no. I only remember her by her handle. That's terrible, Carrie. Not Knot, not Bad Brit. I'll type it here in the, it's her Twitter handle, Not Bad Brit. I will put a link to this project in the description box after the live stream, but I always think of her as Not Bad Brit, and I can't remember her real name. That's the problem with social media. We get to know each other by our handles, and they're like, oh, we have real names, you know. But I can look at it up real quick. So it's a Tunisian crochet project. Really enjoyed making it. It involves lace, but there's also Tunisian like double stitch here, these solid sections. Like, I think you can probably see it like right there. And this, if you are just starting out in Tunisian crochet, if maybe you've done your first one or two basic projects in Tunisian crochet, this is a really good level up project, where you get to expand your skills because you do some increasing, you have lace, so there's decreasing involved. But it is also like very beginner friendly project because it's nothing too complicated. Here we go. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I fastened it off yesterday morning and I blocked it. I blocked this yesterday afternoon and it dried incredibly quickly. I was so amazed. Here we go. I can bring up my shares. I'm bringing up the link for the project so you can see her website. 2 T's and Brit. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you so much. I'm telling you right now, this live stream today is going to be a little bit on the rough side. So please bear with me because I didn't do a outline. But this is the pattern. from her website, notbadbrit.com. Oops. Get to the right thing. There we go. Oh, good. It's right here. I brought it up right away. So yeah. So this was the project that I worked, my first Fasten Off project. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. And yeah. Sorry, I'm like trying to flip through screens. There we go. You can see the full picture there. Like I said, I will put a link to this project in the description box after the live stream is over. I didn't have a chance to do it beforehand. Just even though I had to delay my live stream, I still there was a lot of stuff that was going on in the house during that hour that had to be attended to. So yeah. So yes, that finished this, and as I mentioned earlier, I started my next project, which is going to be this fingerless glove. I will leave a link to this project down in the description box as well. So if you want to check out more details about it, you can. It doesn't look like much right now because it's just the beginning of the cuff. But here, this project though, let me just say, is like Fasten Off extravaganza, because not only is this project, this pattern one that I bought during the Fasten Off 2021, this yarn that I'm using for it, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful yarn? Let's see if I can get it there. Yeah, it's so pretty. Focus. Come on, bring the focus back. There we go. I won this yarn. Excuse me. Carrie, come on now. Pull it together. I won this yarn last year in last year's Fasten Off 2020. This was one of my prizes that I won. I made out like a bandit. Let me just say, last year's Fasten Off Yarn Along, because I was playing in the games on the Discord and stuff, like I won 2 balls of yarn, 3. I won like 3 balls of yarn. This is one of them that I won. It's so gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? And I won like 3 patterns. It was insane. But I did win a pattern as well last week, which was very exciting. I was very, very excited. So yeah, the other project but it wasn't just one project that I blocked yesterday. No. I had a whole block party. I also finished this last week the Amberline wrap by Amy Snell, the Devious Knitter. If you've been following me, you know that project really well. I would be holding it up right now, except it's still drying in the pin block, but I'll show you the pictures I have up of it on the Instagram, because that's the easiest way for me to get to it. Excuse me, I'm going to have to cough. So sorry. This one? Yes, we'll use that one. So this is it on my pictures of it on Instagram. This was while I was blocking it. I was just using a yoga mat to block this out, but I love this picture because it shows the difference that blocking can make. Because you can see the top where the pins are, how much it's just stretched out, and the bottom part you can see how narrow it was after washing it. I think that after I blocked it, the width, I gained at least 2 inches, but I think it was closer to 3 inches of width after blocking it. It's one of the coolest things when you block lace is just the transformation of it. Here's the center of the wrap pinned out, so you can see that. I use so many pins. And let me tell you something, blocking this, I was so ambitious yesterday to pin block 2 projects. Like, there is part of me that's going, Carrie, are you crazy? Pin blocking two projects yesterday? Because this project, I really wanted to make sure, because it's a rectangle, I really wanted to make sure everything was even. And great tool, by the way, when you're doing a block like that, a pin block of a rectangle where you really want the edges straight, is if you have like a quilter's ruler. They're the best. Quilter's rulers are the freaking best. And I was literally just going down 1/2 inch, measure, pin, go down another 1/2 inch, measure, pin, just right down the line. I never trust my eyeballs when I want to make sure that my edges are really straight when I'm pinning. Because when you're looking at an object, unless you're looking like straight down at it, like the view at which you're looking at that straight line can be off just because of the angle at which you're looking at it. So I never trust my eyes when I'm wanting to pin something straight. I always use a ruler. And I cannot recommend having quilters rulers enough for those types of situations. A good 24-inch quilter's ruler is fantastic when you're wanting to do a straight line like that. So yes, let's see, bear, that shows the difference well. Yeah. So the only downside, and then there were 2 other things. These weren't a big deal. I just was washing. So I was like, hey, I can finally wash these little items. Not little, but I finally washed. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, I'm using a new light, by the way. There we go. This, you may remember this. This is the Luce Natois. It's Gaelic. I don't know how to pronounce it. By Liz Cork. This fingerless glove. I bought these during last year's Fasten Off. I've had these done for a while, but I just hadn't washed them yet. So I finally washed these yesterday, and I washed these fingerless mitts for the first time yesterday. These are the ones that I made when I was testing out the 9-inch circulars. 9-inch circular one? Yeah. So got these washed yesterday finally. And yeah, so it was a whole block party for me yesterday. I have to say, after like being down on the ground like this for a good 2 hours, blocking the 2 pieces, my neck was a little sore. So yeah. So that catches you up on all of my projects that I have going on. The Fasten Off Yarn Along, the wrap. I think that catches you up on everything. Yes. And I have to say that the projects that I finished, every one of them I recommend highly. I really enjoyed all of them. The Amber Rain wrap was a really fun knit. One of the things I loved most about it was that it's all built in triangles. It's a modular knit. And so it was one of those where it was like, because you weren't just knitting like from the bottom of the rectangle all the way up, it just felt like there was constant variety going on. It's like, ooh, I completed a section and now I get to do something else while I'm still working on the project. So it just really held my interest. And yet at the same time, the stitch pattern itself was very easy to memorize. So really enjoyed that project. Highly recommend. Like, I gotta say, I feel like every pattern that I've worked this year has been a winner. And like, I don't feel like you can say that very often, where you really, every project you get to the end of and it's like, wow, I really enjoyed that. But that's how I'm feeling about what I did this year. So I know for many of you, I'm going to switch topics now, unless anyone has any comments or questions or anything like that. It really is, Kathleen. It's such a great feeling. It's like, I'm really looking back and I'm working on putting together my end of year kind of wrap up video where I kind of look back on my projects from 2021, like things that happened in the knitting world. I did a video last year where I kind of did a retrospective, and I'm planning it out now. And I'm thinking about like my projects and if I have any real fails this year. Oh, I know which one will kind of be a fail, but you to find out what I'm thinking about, you're going to have to wait for the video. But there's one project that was kind of like, it wasn't really a fail, but it's not one that I'll probably be finishing. But every project I stuck with, I really enjoyed this year. So let's talk about the big event that's happening next week for most of you, I'm guessing. I'm very fortunate in this sense that I celebrate Hanukkah. And Hanukkah this year was right after Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving happened on Thursday, and then first night of Hanukkah was Sunday night. And Hanukkah in the Jewish calendar, I mean, it's a fun holiday, but it's not like, I'm gonna have to cough, excuse me. It's a fun holiday, but it's not like one of the major holidays. It's not like planning for Passover or Rosh Hashanah or any of those. So, and welcome, Jane. So glad you could make it. Yay! So for me, this is an especially chill holiday season because my holiday during this time of year is past, and Christmas is not something that I celebrate. So but I see everybody else and like how stressful this time of year can be. And I totally understand and empathize with that sort of holiday rush. And especially when I see all the comments about like, oh my gosh, my holiday gift knitting or crocheting or projects, like I gotta get it done and I'm rushing and can I get any sleep? It's got me thinking about gift giving in general, but specific to hand making. And sometimes, especially at these times of year, you know, the pressure that sometimes we put on ourselves as makers to get things done by a deadline so we can give it to somebody. So here's where I'm going to make my confession about all of this. I very rarely knit gifts for people or make gifts for people. I have, and I will, but I just very rarely do it. There's a myriad of reasons for it, but I actually make a conscious decision at this time of year, because even though I don't celebrate Christmas, I do have family members who do, and I have friends, lots of friends who celebrate Christmas, and I have made a considered decision not to knit them presents this time of year, because I personally have felt like the pressure of like, oh my God, I gotta get these presents finished for them, and this time period sucks the joy out of making for me. And if I'm going to make something for a person and devote that time and love into it, I want it to be something that I enjoy. So I would much rather give a set of dishcloths to a friend just randomly, being like, hey, I was thinking about you, here's this, than to try to rush and do it for a specific holiday. But I know that's not how everybody feels about it, and I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are on, making as handmade gifts for friends and family, especially at times of the year like this. Let's see. Lisa, I gave up that long time ago. Yeah, way too stressful, right? Especially like some people, it's one thing if you're making small things, right? Like, you're making socks or dishcloths. That, by the way, washcloths is like my go-to gift. There's two things that I will make for people, generally. One is if like somebody who's important to me is pregnant, I will make a baby blanket for them. That's kind of my thing. And one of the things I really like about it is A, I get to make a blanket, which I kind of enjoy. And B, if it like isn't there by the exact due date, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to give them that blanket. And they're going to be thrilled no matter what. Like, there's not a big deadline pressure with it. Right? But the other thing is washcloths. And the washcloths, though, are really special in the sense that the washcloth that I make, and I've told this story many times, but the washcloth that I make is, and I don't have one on hand, squirrel. The washcloth that I make is the one my grandmother always made. I do it slightly differently than she did, but it's the one it's the only thing I ever saw her knit, but it's the thing that inspired me to knit. And especially within my family, like it's special when I give them to like my cousins or my brothers and sisters or my mom and stuff, because it's like, oh, this is the dishcloth Rosie always made, and we all love having these. So it just feels like something that connects all of us. So, and they don't take long to knit. And there's a very good chance when I travel, I make this washcloth, and if I'm visiting friends or family and I finish the washcloth, I give it to them. I'm like, here's your washcloth. But same, it's not worth the stress. And when I do, it'll get done when it gets done. No timeline, not good for my happiness or my risks, right? Let's not forget about the risks. Oh, that's the thing I forgot. We'll go over that. I'll share with you my birthday presents to myself after we have this talk. But risks is relevant, and you'll find out why. Let's see, Kathleen, I've got the ribbing on a top-down hat and a dishcloth left, and it's all stressing me out, right? And it's like, like I said, I really try at the holidays not to be stressed out, because it's like, this is supposed to be a fun, joyful time of year. No matter what it is that you celebrate or don't celebrate, I feel like this time of year we're heading towards the end. I always like for it to be a joyful, happy, reflective time. I know that's really hard right now with everything that's going on in the world. It's really hard right now. I know I've seen the memes, and I agree with them. We're all kind of maybe approaching 2022, a little bit like walking into, a Waterford Crystal showroom. Be very careful. Don't bump into anything. Let's just all not make any assumptions that it's all going to be okay. But yeah, I just don't want to stress. Whitney, I have to go. Have a great day. Feel better soon. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you so much for joining. So yeah, I just think that it's my personal view. It's like, let's take the pressure off ourselves. And isn't it true to some degree that is pressure that we put on ourselves? Like, I know different people, different attitudes, different feelings, right? But I have never had anybody who I did give a gift to, a handmade gift to, be upset because it was a day or two after the usual day that you would give the gift. You know what I mean? Like, the last baby blanket I made was for a good friend of mine in Los Angeles, and I think I gave it to her like 6 months after her child was born. She was thrilled. She didn't care. She didn't care when she got it. She was just like, touched that I made the effort. And I think that's the thing sometimes we have to remember about all of this with handmade gifts, is that it is the thought that counts, and that if the person is craft worthy, is gift worthy, they're going to just appreciate the gift, even if it's a day or two late, a month late, a year late, whatever. Speaking of craft worthy, that is the other issue about all this, right? Oh, let me just see Bear's comment here. I come to the same decision the hard way. I'm thankful that my kids and husband appreciate my knit items. They're knit worthy. Other folks are less so, unless it's for a special reason. Yep. This gets us to the topic of the knit worthy, the craft worthy, because I'm very fortunate that I have never, as far as I know, given somebody a handmade item that I worked on and them not appreciate it. In fact, I've always felt like people are like, I'm going to go back to the washcloths. Like, the washcloth to me is such like a no big deal project, in the sense of it's pretty quick to do. It's not a hard project. But I'm always sort of amazed how excited people are by them. Like, oh my gosh, like, whether it's just because I made it or because they just really appreciate a handmade washcloth, whatever it is, in my experience, people that I've given them to are just like blown away. And I'm like, it's such a straightforward project. But I think that's the thing. I've been very fortunate that the people I've chosen to give gifts to have really appreciated them. But I also think that might be because I am very particular about who I give my handmade items to. Part of that is a little bit of selfishness on my part, that a lot of times the things that I'm making, I am making for myself because I really like the thing and I'm like, ooh, I want that, right? But I think the other reason is just like, it is a lot of time, and I want to make sure it's the thing that I'm going to make, I want to make sure the person, it's something that they will enjoy, not because it's like, oh, I want them to love what I do so much as I want them to be able to enjoy it. So I want to know that they will like it. So I have to feel like this is something I know this person will like. Like this is their style, this is their taste. I once made a ring when I did, well, I still do seed bead. I just don't do it as much because 4-year-old child. But I made this ring, and my boss, who I was friends with, she really admired it. She really liked it. So I made her one in a color I knew that she would love. And like, I was like, that was a no-brainer. And it was like, I know she's going to really love this ring. And I know our hand sizes are very similar, so I can fit this to me and it will fit her. Because that's the other thing. Like, I'm always very nervous about making somebody an item that has to be fitted, because I'm like, what if it doesn't fit them? That's the baby blankets and the washcloths. James, yes. If the person is craft-worthy, they will understand and appreciate your work, whether it's late or not. The people I make for respect my time and effort and love. Exactly. And I think it's like really interesting, though, the people who don't appreciate the love and the work, because you see the comments. Like a while ago, I saw a comment on some platform where someone was saying that they were invited to a baby shower and the card specifically said, handmade gifts will not be accepted. And I was just like, that's so rude. Like, and the person felt like that was kind of directed towards them, because in their friend circle, she was the only one who was like a maker. Right? Right, Kathleen? What? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. On one hand, the rudeness is appreciated because it's like, at least I wouldn't waste my time making you something you wouldn't want. On the other hand, how rude. Like, what? It's just weird. Oh my God, are you serious? How horrible. Yes, it was terrible. It was so terrible. Yikes, that's rude. So rude. But, you know, I think there are people out there, not makers, obviously, who see handmade items and think, oh, that's inexpensive or that's cheap, or they're worried it won't fit their style. I mean, look, let's be honest. People, when it comes to certain things like weddings, baby showers, can get very particular. You know, like they have a theme, they have a color scheme, and they just want everything. Like the baby cares, the baby doesn't care. This is totally something for you, the mom, the dad, but anyway, the parental figure. But they get really like, I have a theme and everything must fit in that theme. And I feel like that's the person who writes something like, handmade gifts will not be accepted. Which, I mean, that's a choice. But hey, at least you're announcing you're not craft-worthy. Better to find out that ahead of time before. Honestly, my parents wouldn't accept handmade gifts. Oh, wow. Did they have a reason why they wouldn't accept handmade gifts? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer that. I'm just curious. James, stating a preference is fine, but will not be accepted is such a rude way to say it. It really is. It's a very rude way to say it. Say, I would prefer, or I have this theme. If you could please make sure to, you know, I don't know. There's nicer ways of stating it, isn't there? But I guess the end result's the same, right? The end result is still them saying, like, I don't appreciate handmade items. I don't know. Does anybody, if you have anyone who you know is not craft-worthy, like either because you know that they're not going to appreciate it, so you just don't put the time and effort for that. Because look, it's gift giving, right? The goal is to hopefully give something that the person appreciates and will find value in. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own taste. We all have our own style. And, you know, if you're just trying to give, I guess another way to look at it is if you're just giving a gift of your own handmade item out of a place of like, well, I want you to see how good what I do is, well, okay. But I don't think that's where makers come from generally. I think that, yes, we are very excited to share what it is that we do with other people, you know, but also it is time consuming. So at least me, I don't know, maybe you're different. Me, that's why I'm so picky about who I give items to, because it's like you're really important to me if I give you one of my handmade items. Like, you're really special and important to me in some way, because like I'm just, you know, I mean, if I give you a gift of any kind, you're at a certain level with me. First of all, but if I give you something handmade from me, that's like next level. That's, you're leveled up, you know. Bears. I made a TARDIS handbag with a sewn-in lining that a friend of mine loved and asked me to make her one. I did. She loved it. I gave the first one to my sister, Doctor Who fan, and it was not well received. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that it was not well received. That's yeah. They need to know how much people spend on them. Lisa. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you know, the other thing that I haven't done this for many. I've done this for two people. Wedding bag. One of my oldest friends and my sister, I did make them beaded, hand-knitted, beaded wedding bags. Like, was like, you're that important in my life that I'm making this for you. Plus, it was fun for me. That's side bonus. So yeah, I think there is that aspect to it, right? I think there are some people, you know, with the gift, they want to know, like, they measure how much they think was spent on a gift as a measurement of how important the relationship is. And the irony, of course, is with a handmade item, like, first of all, there's usually more spent on it than the person who's not a maker realizes. But second of all, it's like, it's so much of yourself goes into that present. Like, so that relationship is very valued. Kathleen, the hat isn't hand spun, and there are very few people in that category. Oh, I hear you. I hear you on that. James, I'm very picky about who I make for, but it's also not necessarily a judgment. Yes, it's also just what people want, don't want. Yes, if someone doesn't really want something, I won't make it for them. Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I would even say that if there's somebody where it's like, you know that it's just not their taste, I don't even consider that person not craft worthy, right? There's just a person who's like, this isn't the type of thing for them. And I agree with you. There's times that we get a little judgy, right? And saying somebody is craft worthy or not craft worthy does seem to hold a weight of judgment about it. For me, somebody who's not craft worthy is someone I don't like. Like, I have an aunt who I would never make something for. And it's because, like, I got issues with her. Let's see. James, I'm really picky about what I bring into my life, and I don't appreciate gifts that I don't really want. So I understand being picky about gifts as long as people are clear in advance and not rude. Yeah, that's just it. Like, you know, you just hope that people are kind about it. You know, even, look, we've all been there. We've all gotten the gift that we didn't like, right? This is a rather infamous sweater story in my life. A gift I was given where it's not appreciated. And it's always such an awkward thing when you receive a gift that you don't really care for. And it's like, how do you handle that? Do you just fake it? That's what I was taught to do. You just fake it. You just fake that you like it and you appreciate it. And then you don't have to use it or wear it. You can give it to someone who does appreciate it, or you can donate it, or, you know, but you don't, to the person's face, you do not show anything but gratitude. That's how I was raised. And so we had these friends of the family who shall go nameless, but, you know, we would spend Christmas Eve with them each year and exchange presents. And, you know, they always had a present for me, my brother, my sister, and generally they would give me a sweater of some kind. And there was one year, and I was probably like 13 or 14. Heck, I might have been a freshman in high school. But anyway, be that as may, they gave me this sweater. It was so hideous. It was red, and it had like a Scottish puppy in one corner and a heart in another corner, and like this school bus, yellow school bus in another corner. And it was something like maybe you give a child, and this was before like the ugly Christmas sweater was like a real like thing, you know, because now it's a thing, but there was a time where yes, there were ugly Christmas sweaters, but they weren't being done ironically. Now they're done with a great sense of irony. Back then, no, they were just ugly Christmas sweaters. And this wasn't even a Christmas sweater, though. It wasn't even a Christmas sweater. But it was so bad. And I was just like, I was just like, especially at the age I was, 13, 14, like going, what? This is for like an 8-year-old. So I never wore it. But man, I grinned my way through it. And after it was over, we were going home, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, this sweater, I don't know what to do with it. She's like, oh, by your reaction, I thought you really liked it. And I was surprised because it seemed so not your style. I was like, no, I was faking it. Lisa, there was a time when I was quite poor. I had extra yarn, so I made a few things for my family. It was not, oh, I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm sorry you had that experience. You know, like, I'm sorry. I feel for you. So yeah, you know, unfortunately, you know, not everything's going to be appreciated that we make. You know, I know there's people who, actually, I was at work. This was when I was a studio guide at Universal, and I had worn this scarf that I had made. It was like one of the first projects it was the first lace project I had ever done. And it was acrylic, so it never blocked really well. Because I didn't know then. I didn't know what I know now. Like, this was in the very early days of me being a knitter. I didn't know that blocking acrylic lace just was never going to happen. Anyway, so I'm wearing it, and I'd taken it off, and I put it down on a table. One of my coworkers came by and picked it up and goes, oh my God, who would wear this hideous thing? And I just took it. I'm like, I made that. Thank you. She was a little embarrassed. Obviously, she's not somebody I would have ever made it. But I mean, we weren't good friends. We were just coworkers. But anyway. Yeah, that's just it. I'm over it now, but it did hurt my feelings. I could never do that to someone. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't bring myself to tell somebody that I don't like the gift that they gave me, because it's like, I think with my parents, there have been times where it's been like, oh, this isn't something I'm going to use. Can I exchange it? And like, but that's my parents. But most people, I'm like, I just couldn't, like, because it's like they did put time into thinking of giving me something. Who am I to reject it? I may not like it. It may not be something I use, but it just, there's no need for them to necessarily know that, if that makes sense. Because it will find a home with somebody. That's my thing. Like, there's somebody who this is for, even if it's not for me, and I can just be a point along the way of that person getting that thing. You know? I'm just a way station. Oh, okay. So my throat is dying a little bit. So I think, unless anybody else had any more questions or comments, I think we're going to move on and do a quick pattern spotlight, because there's a number of things. I want to make sure that we see the new releases that are up on Fiber Happenings. There's some fun stuff there. And yeah, and yes. So let me make sure I have what I need up. That's the wrong app. Oh, man. Close that. Fiber Happenings. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, oh, all right. Excuse me. There we go. Okay. I want another monitor. Oh, wait, sorry. Before I do fire happenings, gift to myself. I really want to talk about this really quickly. One is I got this book, Knitting Comfortably. I just started reading it, but this book, it was a bit pricey, but it's written by Carson Demers. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I will put a link down in the description box. Again, not affiliated or anything like that. This was written by a knitter / physical therapist / ergonomics expert. And this is all about learning how to basically knit without injuring yourself. So I'm very excited about this because I'm always very interested in being able to knit more ergonomically and protect my wrists because I have had issues and stuff. So this was one of my birthday presents to myself. I'm very excited to be reading it and seeing what I can do because I'm always in search of what it is I can do to help improve my knitting form. This is a physical activity that we are doing. So the other present that I got myself, and in fact, I want to bring that up on Twitter. The other gift that I got myself is, you may remember, oh, James, let's see. Let us know if you like it. I've been interested in it, but haven't actually bought it yet. I will absolutely let you know if I like it. I am just in the first chapters of it. So, I don't want to, I'm not going to give it a thumbs up, thumbs down llama rating right now. But I will definitely let you know. Sorry, I'm trying to get to a tweet because I want to make sure I share this tweet. The other birthday present I got for myself was from Abby's Yarns. Abby Frankmont, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you don't know who she is, she lives in Peru and she teaches, here it is, this is the tweet. She teaches spinning and weaving, and she has, during this time in our lives, has been doing an online spinning course, like 1 through 4. And maybe you remember, maybe you watched my video when I tried to drop spin for the first time. That really was for the first time on camera, by the way. I did that on camera. It was the very first time I tried it. And, I spun some more, and I kind of went, I don't know if this is for me. I don't feel like I'm getting it. But somewhat inspired by Jillian Eves' Vlogmas. If you haven't been watching that, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Somewhat inspired by that. And also by a sale that Abby is having right now, I decided to get her spinning class 1 recordings. So I'm trying my hand again at spinning. Very excited about it. And I've only watched the first video and a couple of other, like, what she has, office hours. So I've only watched, like, the first couple of videos, but I've started doing a practice where you spin for the first time just using a stick, or in my case, a size 9 knitting needle. And let me just say, the very first video class, like, my mind was blown. Like, the thing about the first video class, it was recording of a live Zoom class. So the first portion of it was about, like, how the platform works and how to get on the Discord and various technical things. Only, like, the last bit of the first class was really getting into the spinning. But once you did start getting more into, like, the spinning portion of the class, oh my, like, mind blown. Things I just kind of intuited before became clear. And I'm very excited about it. I've been practicing. Here on my desk, I have, like, a couple of, like, my practices. Let me pull these out. Here we go. This was one of my first practices. It's just a very, very, very tiny, tiny bit of yarn that I spun on a stick. I just kind of let it, like, double over on each other itself and ply itself because It was spinning a single, and the single does not hold. The single did not hold, so I just let it like kind of come over and wind it back around itself. And this was the next one that I did, and like this bottom portion, like it's very little of it spun. If I pull it, it's gonna pull apart. But up on this section, again, I kind of let it like come back on itself and ply. And I was like, wow, that's at least consistent for like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I at least got some consistency. So yeah. And what I love is this first practice took kind of pressure off, because she said in it, like the goal of the first lesson isn't to make usable yarn. It's just to get used to understanding and seeing how twist moves through the fiber and how all of that works. And I gotta say, like, that took a lot of pressure off. So yeah, that's that. So I got that class, and I'm very excited about it. And I believe the sale is still going on. Bye, Kathleen. Thank you so much for joining live. Thank you so much. But I also wanted to let you know that in addition to a sale going on, right now, this tweet went out this morning. Let me see. Let me click on her directly on her tweet. But she's now offering gift cards, $10 to $500. So if you have friends or family who are interested in spinning or weaving or anything like that, she's now offering gift cards so that you can give the gift of Abby's yarns and her offerings. Because not just does she have the spinning classes, she also sells some she also sells some traditionally made weavings and stuff from the area of Peru that she lives in now. So yeah, wanted to just mention that real quick. That's the one I wanted to bring up. And yeah, that's exciting. And you can find her information there on Twitter. Guess what? I will leave a link to that down in the description box as well. All right. So we talked about my birthday presents to myself. And now we can do fiber happenings. Here we go. Okay, so fiber happenings. First off, want to make sure I mention this is an affiliate kind of shout out. Knit Picks. It's not appearing here very well, but I'm gonna figure out what's going on. But Knit Picks is having a sale on their luxury yarn from now until December 31st. You can get up to 50% off their luxury fibers. So if you are interested in that, you can check out that sale. I do have my affiliate link to Knit Picks down in the description box. If you use that affiliate link and you make a purchase, I earn a small commission, and that does help support my channel. So if you use that, thank you so much. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And if you don't, that's cool too. As always, I'm just glad you're here watching a video, but I wanted to mention that. Then we have the Fasten Off, which I've talked about, and we have our first new pattern that is out. This is from friend of the Carrie Craft Geek channel, Amy Snell, the DV Knitter. These are her Hugger Mugger, and these are little coffee cup holders to help keep the hands burn free when we're holding those paper coffee cups, because we've gone through the drive-through Starbucks, and they're really adorable and cute. It's a very straightforward, simple ferrule pattern, and yes, this does make a good last-minute gift or stocking stuffer. And I think it's also a good stash buster, or I should say scrap yarn buster. If you have some scrap yarn about, this type of project would work really, really well for that. So that is the new pattern from Amy Snell. Amy Snell designed the Amberine Rep. This is a new designer to me who submitted their new pattern, Kix Cat. Love the name. And these are the two most adorable hand-knitted dragons. They're little tiny dragons. They're so cute. If you love dragons, you may love this pattern. And I just want to read their description because I think it's adorable. The tiny dragons would appreciate if you pretended to be scared. He has been practicing his roar for a while. It sounds more like a little squeak, but he's very proud of it. Knit completely flat and seamed for the little one is a great stash buster and can be made by an adventurous beginner knitter. So yes, it's the end of the year. We have all of that scrap yarn available to us, and this is another great project to make up with those. Aw, right? So cute. Oh, so cute. Next, we have from Periwinkle Drag. Oh, no, Liz Quirk. Liz Quirk has a new pattern out. Oh, excuse me. It's actually two. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of this because I never think to look it up before I live stream, which is the Eisnach hat and cowl. This stitch pattern may look familiar to you, and that is because she originally did this stitch pattern. I'm going to actually go over to her Etsy link here real quick. But she did this stitch pattern initially in a fingerless mitt, and now she has completed the set offering a cowl and hat with this stitch pattern. And it's such a cool stitch pattern. Just trying to get to it real quick. Sorry you're having to watch all of this. Load. There we go. It's such a cool stitch pattern because it looks like a cable, right? But it's not. It's actually a wrapped stitch technique where you wrap stitches with the yarn and it creates this cable-like appearance. So it's a very cool technique. And you can now get this stitch pattern featured in a cowl and a hat and a fingerless mitt. So it's really, really cool. Let's see. You can kind of see it here in this picture. So yeah, very exciting. Love Liz Quirk's work all the time. Like, I don't think she's ever put out a pattern that I haven't like gone, ooh. Like, I just feel like everything that she does speaks to me. And there we have this one. We have another pattern from Periwinkle Dragon Designs. This is her Ocho Tona hat and cowl. So she says, the cozy, comfortable hat and cowl set for sport or DK weight yarn uses a unique all-over texture that is both beautiful and warm. The twisted strands in the pattern are easy to work, and they help, highlight the subtle color details in hand-painted yarns. One of the things I really love about Carolyn Lyle's work is how many of her patterns are really good for variegated yarns, hand-painted yarns, and things of that nature, because I think especially there's so many beautiful ones out there nowadays, and I do feel like so often, as beautiful as these yarns are, sometimes it's hard to know what pattern to use with them. So I think she's always a great designer to look towards if you have variegated, hand-painted, yarns like this. I think her work really highlights those colorways and yarns beautifully. And it's nice to see it in a DK weight. I feel like so often these types of things are done with sock weight and fingering weight yarn, and it's nice to see one done with a DK or sport weight. You have a little bit of a heavier yarn, a little bit of a quicker project to work. Okay, next we have from Bren JS Knits. She has a new cowl out, and this is kind of a neat pattern. It's a unisex cowl, and it features a swirling knit motif. There's a little bit of a lacy quality to it. I'm going to go over to her Hey Hip store just to see if we can get a closer picture of it. Oh, it's going to do that, isn't it? There we go. But it has a little bit of a lacy quality to it, but it's mostly a swirling knit technique. It's very pretty. Here you can see it better. So it does. It kind of looks like waves. Very pretty. So yeah. Back to Fiber Happenings. We have a lot to catch up on. It's been a couple weeks since we've had a live stream. And did we look at the Isbolina socks? I think so. So that is all of the new patterns. There might be some. No, I think those are all the patterns that have gone up on Fiber Happenings. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have switched to the larger screen. My bad. I forgot which view I was on. But you can go and visit Fiber Happenings, of course, and take a look at all the patterns that are up right now. And yeah, a lot of fun stuff. So I think my voice has reached the end of the line. And I need some more hot tea. So we're going to start wrapping things up. Excuse me. Right now on the channel, if you have not watched already, I do have a video up sharing my favorite tips for working with double pointed needles. Yes. And in that video, I do use my new Prim ergonomic DPNs. I'm using that in a project right now. I've got like 3 projects happening right now. And yeah, I'm enjoying them. Let me know if you want me to do a deeper review on those DPNs, similar to what I've done in the past with the Prim ergonomic circular needles. If you want a full review on those, let me know. Thank you, James. Thank you. I'm sure I will feel better in the next couple of days. This isn't like the worst cold in the world, but definitely stuffiness is occurring. But yeah, so that video is up right now. Coming up, I am going to be shooting I think next I'm going to be doing my 2020 Crimes Against Fiber video, and that's where I'm just going to take a playful look back at some of the things that maybe weren't so fantastic that I came across in the Fiberverse this year. But it's playful. It's just going to be a fun thing, hopefully. And then after that, I will probably have my 2020 year-end wrap-up where I just kind of go through my projects, my completed projects, my whips, my abandoned projects, and various other things just to kind of give you my countdown of best and worst for me in 2021. Yay! So I don't know. I always love an end-of-the-year countdown. I love those. I have since I was a kid. I remember in high school, like junior high and high school, my mom got me subscriptions to YM Magazine, 17, Sassy. And at the end of the year, I would so look forward to all the countdowns. So, yeah. So that's coming up. And the good thing is, the paying gig we're on hiatus for these last 2 weeks of the year. So I'm going to have time to shoot and get hopefully ahead with my videos so that when that show starts back up that I'm working on, I'll be able to keep the balance going between paying gig and YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, oh my God, I totally forgot to mention this. I got an announcement from YouTube a couple days ago that I have reached 10,000 watch hours. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched a video and spent time here. You're so appreciated. It's a big milestone, and it's very exciting that I made it to 10,000 watch hours. And so thank you so much for your support by liking. Please make sure you like this video, subscribing. Make sure you're subscribed. Maybe you think you're subscribed because I keep showing up in your feed, but you're not actually subscribed. Go ahead and click on that subscription button and the notification bell. If you click on the notification bell, you'll always know when I'm uploading a new video, or I'm starting a live stream, and it will make sure that YouTube, from what I've heard a rumor that if you don't have the notification bell clicked, that YouTube will sometimes kind of quietly unsubscribe you from a channel. I don't know if that's true or not, but why risk it? Why risk it? Just click the notification bell too. If you'd like to support me in other ways, of course, please consider using my affiliate links only if you were going to make a purchase anyway. Like, say, you were going to get some luxury yarn from Nitpicks, you could use my affiliate link. And you're going to make a purchase, you're going to make anyway, and I get a small commission. It's a win-win. Of course, no pressure. If you don't want to use an affiliate link, it's not a big deal. But the commissions do help support my channel, as does, and these are always awkward to bring up, any tips I receive through SuperThanks, Super Chats, and Buy Me a Coffee. Or I've switched platforms. Now I'm on Ko-fi. But yes, if you would like to leave me a tip, there's a link to my Ko-fi down in the description box. Okay, all the shameless plugs are done. Not my favorite part of the job. Or I guess this really should be my hobby. Not my favorite part, but it's unfortunately necessary. So yeah, that is everything for today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope that you have a wonderful, stress-free week ahead. Please make sure that you spend some time taking care of yourself. It's easy to forget that when you are headed towards a big holiday. And I know it's a really big one coming up for a lot of y'all. So please make sure that you spend some time to give to yourself and make sure that you're having a lovely, stress-free, as stress-free as possible end to the year. So yes, that is my wish to all of you. And I think we're going to wrap things up now. So have a great rest of your day once again. And as always, happy health and happy making. Bye.